Biggest tip of the season was Adelaide going undefeated to the grand final and winning it all. What the fuck happened to the Crows? Well, what we think the difference here is going to be, it's the Crows defense up against the Hawks attack.
It's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's going to be hard to get tickets. The place is going to be absolutely rocking.
Welcome back to Ahead of the Game Sports Chat with Sports Pez Jez, Tux Sports Takes. We're back in the studio for this AFL Semi-Finals preview. Jez.
What a weekend of footy it was, man. Wasn't it? It was a great weekend. It was a great weekend of footy. The Suns are going to make the finals for the first time. They could even just win a premiership, right? They got an easy road ahead now to the big show at the MCG. The hardest task was beating the Dockers, brother.
If they win a premiership before the Dockers, then I'm giving it all away. You see, I've already changed allegiances for my sport.
Yeah,
straight from the Dockers hat to the Lions hat.
Went well for them too. Mate, don't back any team that Ryan backs at the moment because they're up shit creek.
Jez, let's have a quick recap about these qualifying and elimination finals. We don't have to go too deep. I think everybody that is going to watch this show, watch the games or knows the results and can pull it apart. But I guess the big one, which we can touch on straight away, the Dockers and the Suns. Gold Coast going over to Perth and winning by a point at the end of the game the way they did. They almost let the Dockers back in. Or they did let them back in. Dockers were in front.
Yeah. And I told you, I went vacuuming. I could see it. I could feel it happening. I was watching the game and all of a sudden I'm vacuuming because I just felt the quicksand of the Suns just falling apart like they did when they were trying to get that one more win to make the finals. You just see they were just like making the wrong decisions, kicking the ball inside 50. They were making like poor handling errors, not able to pick up the ball. I'm just like, it's all over. And then all of a sudden I'm vacuuming, they're down by a goal, and then I'm vacuuming again and they're up by a point. Or it was when Swallow kicked to put them up by 6. And just like, fuck, what an emotional ride. Go back, and Mac Andrews, mate, worth every penny, worth that long contract. Like, I love that he was he did it earlier in the year where he moved forward and then kicked the match winner on the siren. Did the same thing. Like, you're a backline player, and then to be able to come up that clutch, like that was obviously the momentum swinger back into the Suns' favour. Like, a Mac Andrew, man, like some awesome, over all the games, I think the biggest thing I pulled out of the whole weekend was some like key defensive players, man, that just like defense wins championships. It's what they always say, but it just certainly felt like that's the difference in finals footy, is some of these big performances from backline players that just turn games on their head or just shifted momentum. Wow, momentum. Like, we talk about it all the time when it comes to AFL. And it was like that in the Suns game. It was like that in all the games. The
GWS coming back. Yeah. And it was, their run from the half-back line, which, Lachie Ash was in there getting ball and moving it out.
Yeah.
And you saw the massive swing in momentum brought about by them being able to control the defensive end of the ground and essentially kind of load up to run forward. And again, like, GWS obviously didn't get there in the end, but they gave it a massive shot. And if they could have been a bit more effective in front of the sticks, then they could have run away with that game as well with the momentum they had.
Yeah, certainly. And that was sort of one of the other points. Like, we're just supposed to be talking about the Suns, but it feels like the whole weekend was just like, it's finals footy, and it's all about like key moments and like some key misses in front of goal or some key stops or some big defensive plays just seemed to change all of these games, except the Geelong game. It just felt like they were certainly in control over Brisbane. But I think in all the others, it was just some small key finals moments, which is why you love finals footy, because it's make and break with just one moment that just shifts everything into your team's favour, or you fuck up and it shifts it into the opponent's favour and you're just in big trouble all of a sudden. So, like, amazing weekend of footy.
All right, you're giving me some shit about Freo and your Suns, but your biggest tip of the season was Adelaide going undefeated to the grand final and winning it all. What the fuck happened to the Crows?
Collingwood, man. Like it's scary, I think, because Collingwood have been poor. The back end of the season, I was like, The other big tip in our AFL finals preview show was Collingwood are going out in straight sets. and now it looks like the Crows are like all of a sudden on the limit and can when we break down that game a little bit later, like there's no gimme for Adelaide. It's going to be extremely tough, but Collingwood to show up in the finals like they did and play the pressure game that has eluded them over this whole back end of the season.
Yeah.
And somehow, week one of the finals, I'm even getting like goosebumps, literal goosebumps talking about it, because it should make every team
scared.
Afraid.
Yeah.
Because if they can play this defensive pressure, and one of the big stats from one of our favorite AFL podcasts, they talked about the defensive pressure of Nick Dacos. He's known for what he does with the ball in hand. He led the team in pressures. So that shows that the whole system is working and the whole team is buying into what they needed to do to change the momentum of their season and not go out in straight sets. And they pulled it off, and everybody should be shitting the bed, because all of a sudden Collingwood's back in the game and they're in a prelim. They're 2 wins away from winning another premiership. Like,
all right. So
it's gross.
If you guys have some other thoughts about those elimination finals and qualifying finals, go ahead and put them in the comments, because we're interested to hear what our followers think about how the momentum shifted in those games and how you guys experienced it from where you were watching. And I guess we can discuss that a little bit more in the comments going forward. Okay, Jez, now let's look ahead to the semi-final games. And the first one up, it's the Crows up against the Hawks, and it's by no means a gimme for the Hawks here. For the Crows here.
Yeah.
Despite their dominance throughout the season, we've seen in these first few final games that it's a totally different ball game. We know it every year. It's different. Finals are finals. Regular season's regular season. Yeah. But the dominance that the Crows had, they can't take that into finals and rely on that attack and that defense to get them through just because they've done well previously.
Yeah. I think when we're like sort of breaking this game down, you look at how well the Crows did in the regular season, and obviously top 5 in the majority of any sort of key stats that we do look at. But I think when you're breaking it down to how they got beat by all this pressure and an extremely tight defense of Collingwood. And I'm not sure that the Hawks have that. Plus, I think the Crows can rely a little bit more on their defensive ability and being able to shut down what the Hawks do have in attack. And I think that's going to be the important part. We talk a lot about the Adelaide Crows and how strong they've been in attack, but they've also been ranking in these top 5 spots defensively as well. And I think that's where they're going to have to win this game. They're going to have to play well defensively, and then they're just going to have to be able to find their guys inside 50. Against Collingwood, they couldn't do that. It was more like putting the ball in there and hoping for the best. And that's what the Crows did 2 years ago. And they struggled to make that connection between the midfield and their forward line. And Collingwood made them play like that. But they're not going to be they can't do that against the Hawks, because they're going to fall behind. They need to be able to find those quality inside 50 entries.
Well, let's look here. We've pulled out some stats, and some of what we think the difference here is going to be. It's the Crows' defense up against the Hawks' attack. 3 pretty important stats that we look at here. Goals per inside 50. The Crows' defense is the best in the league at restricting opponents from scoring goals per inside 50 entry. And you see the Hawks' attack still ranks 6th.
Yeah.
But this, to me, signals that, okay, the Hawks, they need to be able to score goals through their inside 50s to be successful to win the game. If the Hawks can, if the Crows can slow this down, they're going to go a long way towards winning.
Yeah.
The next one here, points from stoppages. We had an episode earlier in the year around ranking the rucks.
Say that 3 times.
Ranking the rucks, ranking the rucks, ranking the rucks.
Whoa.
Rucking the ranks. Lloyd Meek, he featured in that. And we think Lloyd Meek's a great ruckman. Yeah. He's strong. He's a tough body, can go forward, take a mark, can disrupt in the back line. And importantly, he wins a lot of hitouts for his team. But points from stoppages, important for the Hawks here. They're ranked 6th. But Adelaide, again, 1st in the league at restricting opponents from scoring points from stoppages. And then the big one, Jez, you go to turnovers.
Yeah.
And Adelaide, they cause the most turnovers of any team in the league, and you get the Hawks who come in at 16th. So they give away a truckload of turnovers to their opponent.
Yeah.
Adelaide aren't much better.
No.
But the defensive end is where it counts and where it has counted in these first 4 games of the finals.
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously, Jack Gunston has had a phenomenal season, back in form. We saw what Chol can do as well, and even Ginnivan. I think if the Adelaide Crows defense can shut those guys down and put them in tougher positions and make sure they're not getting easy marks, not getting set shots, that's going to be the difference. Instead of sort of we go into this game thinking it's all about what the Crows can do and moving in, but just as important, it's finals. Defense win championships. We say it over and over and over and over and over again.
Well, it's no doubt going to be interesting. Who are you taking in this one?
Got to stay with the Crows. I can't jump off the Crow ship. I got money on the Crows.
I'm also in on the Crows. I think the defense will come up trumps here, and they have the home crowd advantage.
Yeah,
home ground advantage. It is extremely difficult to go to Adelaide and win a game anyway.
Yeah,
let alone a finals game, a semi-final. You lose, you're out.
I'm glad you brought that up before. I've completely forgot that I had this actually sitting on my computer right now. One important thing is that Port Adelaide knocked the Hawks out last year in Adelaide. And also, six of the last 7 times the Hawks have been in Adelaide, played at Adelaide Oval, they've lost. So it's not a great venue for them. It's not a great venue for anybody. Just ask the Suns. Never won there in 14 years. So it's a tough venue to play at. The crowd's going to be brutal. So see what happens. But, yeah, hopefully it gets the Crows home.
Okay. The second game of the weekend, it's the Q Clash in a final setting. And, Jez, possibly...
I've got nothing to say here. I'm not jinxing anything.
The biggest ever AFL game played in the state of Queensland.
Yeah, 100%.
Or is it bigger than the very first Q Clash or the very first Gold Coast Suns game?
Absolutely. There's so much riding on this. It's, I think, even bigger because Brisbane are the premiers. They're trying to defend their crown. Their back's against the walls. But I'm pretty sure Brisbane, when you're looking at the bookmate, Brisbane are still favourites.
Yeah.
But
they're without Lachie Neale. They're without Eric Hipwood.
Yeah.
There may be a few niggling injuries to some other players on the team, and even questions around form, especially their forwards and kicking goals.
Yeah.
And now they're going to come up against the Suns team, who have so much momentum coming in their maiden finals campaign. A lot of people riding them home for the narrative here.
Yeah.
And, backs against the wall, like you said.
Yeah. It's going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's going to be hard to get tickets. The place is going to be absolutely rocking. And it almost, you've got to think that it's got to be 50-50. I think there's going to be a lot of Suns fans doing what they can to get tickets to fill that place up. So the pressure is huge. And that's probably... can be the biggest concern for me as a Suns fan, is if these guys are going to be able to stand up and be able to take the pressure, because I feel like that's where the Suns have sort of faltered this season, is when they've been under the pump, when they were under the pump to get that the last win to put them into the finals, when they had a 25-point lead last game, and all they need to do is just put it to bed.
Yeah,
I'm afraid that's can they take on that moment, because it feels like that's where they have struggled this season. I feel like they're the better team, and they should be the favourites going into this match. I think they're so much quicker. They can move the ball. We saw what Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell did, but they can do all of that. But then I feel like no lead is safe, and no lead is safe against Brisbane. I think Brisbane still have the class, but the Suns, I guess. Yeah, they're just lucky that they're fit and healthy and Brisbane aren't.
Well, we've seen, to that point, all through the season, especially in the first kind of quarter of the season, Brisbane continually having to chase down leads to come from behind and win games. And now later in the season, the Suns letting go of leads and almost the most important one last weekend, which could have sent them home.
Yeah.
Let's take a bit of a deeper look into the key stats of this game. We're doing the Lions defense up against the Suns attack.
Yeah.
The Suns, for the whole season, led the league in inside 50s, 56.9 per game, which is an astronomical, a fantastic number. And their forward line as well is built to have these repeated entries. They got the big guys in Ben King and then the little guys in Long, and even their midfield that stream through to pick up those loose balls on the ground.
Yeah.
The marks inside 50 as well kind of correlated to that stat. 5th in the league, where the Lions defense aren't really stopping those marks at an elite level. They're allowing their opponents to take those marks and trying to set up a defense or trying to then restrict a type of score.
Yeah.
Again, to the rucks, we spoke about it in game 1 with Lloyd Meek, Jared Witts.
Yeah.
And they're probably the most underrated ruckman in the AFL this year. Points from stoppages there. The Suns second in the league. The Lions ruck has been a problem for them over this season. So here we have the Suns again with an advantage. The hit out win percentage first versus 14th. From these stats, Jez, what else do you take?
Like, I think this highlights, and I think especially without Lachie Neale, this also becomes a major problem for Brisbane and a strength, because I think where the Suns can really win this game is creating stoppages inside 50. Because if you look at that, they can put the ball in there, and if they can get the ball in the area and create a stoppage, or the ball go out, and we've got to put Jared Witts in there. You saw he's wins the most ruck out of anybody in the competition. Plus this, and that obviously correlates to the Suns being able to score points from stoppages. And if we're doing that inside 50 and playing the game inside Brisbane's defensive area, I think that's where they can just control the game, slow it down there, put the ball in, and then work out ways to score points, because Lachie Neale isn't there. And that's a massive out for them in these breakdown situations. And it's something where obviously the strength of having Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell sniffing around, and then you've got guys that can obviously finish like Ben Long, Ben King. I think we're certainly going to see that play an extremely big part in this, and that's why the Suns will win.
Now, what I'm afraid about in this game for the Suns is that the Lions have shown that that almost anybody in that team could be the difference. Hugh McCluggage, Dane Zorko, Bailey, Rayner, Archie, throughout the years, any one of those guys, or Ashcroft, or even Kai Lohman has been in and out of the team, but can still be so brilliant that he can swing the match. And I don't see this game, no matter who wins, I don't see it being a blowout in any direction.
No.
I think it comes down similarly to last weekend, where it was decided essentially on the siren.
I hope not.
I mean, I think as a neutral observer now, obviously I want the Suns to win there. It's kind of like my second team.
You're a good fella.
But you want to have these close clashes that really create that emotion, and you're on the edge of your seat. But I think in terms of how these two teams play, I have very, big trouble seeing it being a 35-point victory in either direction.
Yeah, I don't think you take, obviously when the Suns played against Brisbane last, they smashed them, but it was in the wet. So I don't think we're going to have that problem this weekend.
And this is the finals between these type of caliber sides. Unless you're Sydney in a grand final, you don't get blown out in this kind of way.
You had to just jump in and make that remark to all the Swannies fans. It's great, but it's true. I think it's going to be brutal. It's going to be an epic Q clash. And yes, it is going to be the Suns. And if the Lions can stop the momentum of the Suns and stop their ball movement, but the Suns still need to do some work defensively as well. Like you said, you listed off some names. They've got to be able to shut down Zorko from moving the ball so cleanly out of halfback, and then they've got to do a similar type of thing on what Rayner's been in extremely good form. He was nowhere against Geelong. Geelong shut him down. So the Suns still have to do that work. Otherwise, it's not like they just lost Lachie Neale and lost Hipwood and they don't have any attack left. The Suns are going to have to play defense as well. And their backline's going to have to be on, and they're going to have to shut down their key guys and do it the whole game, because that's the trouble. And fight the momentum. There's going to be swings in both ways, and they've got to be able to shut those down and win the duels. So I don't know, man. It's fingers crossed.
Okay, and if let's maybe take a quick look forward. let's say the Suns win.
Mm.
Do we see them beating Collingwood?
Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah, they beat Collingwood.
Yeah.
They beat Collingwood earlier this year, obviously. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like Collingwood's a beast.
But I'm not
finals.
convinced
No.
in the way they've played the back half of the season. Yeah, they won one game last weekend,
Yeah.
a very good game against Lions, but the Lions were oh, sorry, not the Lions, the Crows.
Yeah.
The Crows weren't at the top of their game either.
No.
You saw that they struggled in their forward line without Rankin and creating those forward opportunities when the ball was in there. So I'm not giving too much to Collingwood, and I think the Suns' road to a grand final here is much easier than if they would have had to have gone through Geelong.
Yeah, absolutely. Does anybody beat Geelong? Does Geelong now become the favourites to win the premiership if we're looking ahead? Because they're going to have to play either the Crows or the Hawks
at the MCG.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, the Hawks, I think, have the ability in their gameplay to be able to beat Geelong, and Adelaide's defense, it could really just put the dampeners on a contest, which could see the game just kind of fall in any direction, a flip of the coin. But hey, a Geelong versus Gold Coast grand final would be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, two teams that can really move the ball. The Suns have been. The Suns were up there, and they just sort of fell away when the pressure got on. I don't know. I can't look that far ahead.
I think everybody's seen the graphic and the stat that's gone around. I think since Gold Coast came into the competition, no team that has been beaten by the Gold Coast in a regular season has gone on to win the premiership. The only two teams left, Geelong, and obviously the Suns, they can't beat them. Well, they've beaten themselves probably multiple times. But so either
storylines there.
Either that record or that trend is going to be broken, or it's going to be a Geelong versus Gold Coast grand final.
And then the Suns will win the premiership. They only need one final to win. Make the finals once to win the premiership. Be epic. That'd be epic.
All right, we'll be back with some more ahead of the game, talking NRL finals, NFL week 2, and of course upcoming basketball starting soon. That'll be on the channel. Head over to bets.com.au to find the full game previews of all of these games. And there was something else I was going to say. Can't remember.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Let's just round it off.
Round it off.
Stay with us and stay ahead of the game.